In the biting rain, Malcolm Reed huddles under a tattered tarp, his gaze tracking a patrol car slowly cruising past the ramshackle encampment where he and a few other homeless souls take shelter. The headlights sweep across, illuminating forgotten lives. A burly officer steps out, banging hard on a nearby trash can, then staring straight at Malcolm. "We warned you. Leave, or get arrested." Malcolm doesn't reply. His hand tightens around the weathered military dog tag at his neck, his eyes unwavering. He faced death in Iraq's sands, and now he must rise again, not for country, but for the right to exist on this public patch of earth. But when a letter, stumbled upon amid the trash, surfaces, a dark conspiracy begins to unravel. Can a homeless veteran awaken an entire city from its apathy? Join us to uncover Malcolm's journey in today's story. And if you believe justice shouldn't be a privilege of the wealthy, subscribe to Veteran Best Stories to spread this tale. In Portland's biting cold, Malcolm Reed lives quietly at the edge of a park near the commercial district, where glass skyscrapers reflect city lights like sharp, icy blades. By day, he silently collects rusted cans, his calloused hands sharing dry bread with nameless homeless companions, faces society has erased. By night, he curls under a thin blanket, counting the wail of sirens piercing the fog, each one a hammer blow reminding him of his isolation. In Malcolm's heart, a deep sorrow smolders. He was once Sergeant Reed, a fearless soldier facing death in Iraq's battlefields. But now, he's a faint shadow, cast aside in the very nation he swore to protect. Memories of comrades, of days driving through smoke and fire, remain vivid, but they carry pain, the pain of a man abandoned by time and society. He blames no one, but each siren whispers he doesn't belong, that he's surplus in the city's dazzling portrait. The police often come, not to protect, but to threaten. One rainy afternoon, an officer's gruff voice barks in Malcolm's ear, demanding he and others clear this place by Monday. The warning, sharp as winter wind, isn't new, but this time, it carries an odd urgency. A sense of unease creeps into Malcolm's heart. He's seen sweeps before, but this feels different. He notices hushed exchanges between officers and a stranger in a black suit, their cold eyes not on the homeless, but on the park's land, as if it's a treasure they covet. Malcolm doesn't know what they fear, but his heart, once keen on the battlefield, senses a hidden plot, something larger than these tattered encampments. He stands silent in the rain, his gaze heavy with sorrow, yet resolute, like a soldier poised to fight, though the enemy now is a city's indifference. That night, as the rain grows heavier, Malcolm rummages through a dumpster near the municipal office, hoping to scavenge scraps of food. Instead, he finds a crumpled, sodden folder, its papers damp but legible. Under the dim streetlight, he opens it, and his heart seems to stop. It's a detailed plan, with figures and blueprints, revealing a luxury resort project slated for the very park, where he and his homeless companions find refuge. The mayor's name and a prominent real estate conglomerate are signed boldly, like daggers carved into his heart. In that moment, a surge of emotion roars within him. He sits dazed under the light, rain blurring the ink, but his anger sharpens, a flame igniting in the darkness. They aim to erase this invisible community, people already forgotten, to build gleaming towers, where only the wealthy may enter. He thinks of his nameless friends, of nights sharing dry bread, and his heart aches. This isn't just land, it's home, their last shred of hope. Malcolm grips the weathered military dog tag around his neck, as if it tethers him to the days he was Sergeant Reed, who never left a comrade behind. A fierce resolve rises within him, as potent as when he faced foes on the battlefield. He knows he can't stay silent any longer. His silence, though resilient, kept him alive during years of homelessness. But now, it's not enough. He thinks of his comrades' faces in Iraq, of vows he honored, and wonders if they'd want him to stand, not for himself, but for those threatened with losing everything. Fear of arrest, of being driven out, flickers briefly, but is quickly snuffed by a fiercer flame, loyalty and belief that justice isn't just for the rich. As the rain eases, Malcolm remains there, the soaked folder in hand. He looks up at the streetlight, its faint glow enough to illuminate his resolve. He doesn't know how to confront the mayor or the corporation, but he knows he must act. In his heart, his homeless friends, who shared meager bread, become his new squad, and he'll fight for them, as he did in Iraq. He closes his eyes, feeling the dog tags chill against his chest, and whispers a vow. He won't let this park be erased, won't let these invisible lives be buried. Though darkness looms ahead, Malcolm knows, as he did on the battlefield, a soldier never quits. And he'll rise, not just for himself, but for all those forgotten under the city's cold lights. A frigid dawn blankets the park's edge in Portland, where tattered homeless encampments shiver in the wind. Malcolm Reed, his weathered military dog tag hanging at his neck, stands among his nameless companions, calling them around a crackling campfire. In his hands, the crumpled folder, bearing the mayor's seal and blueprints for a luxury resort, threatens to erase the place they call home. In Malcolm's heart, a smoldering fire flares, not blind rage, but the fierce resolve of a soldier who once led a squad through Iraq's battlefields. He looks at the weary faces around him, and his heart aches. They're not just the homeless, they're his new comrades, people he vows not to abandon. As he swore to his brothers in Basra, he feels the weight, not just to save the park, but to restore honor to lives society has cast aside. As Malcolm opens the folder, his voice is low and steady, like a commander issuing orders before battle. He reveals the real estate scheme, how the mayor and a wealthy corporation plan to destroy this invisible community for gleaming towers. The eyes around him, once vacant and exhausted, flicker with doubt, then blaze with outrage, like the campfire's sparks igniting their hearts. In their souls, accustomed to being chased away, treated as refuse, a spark of hope glimmers, hope that this time they can stand, not to flee, but to fight. Malcolm sees the shift, and his heart pulses fiercely. He recalls battlefield days, when trust and discipline kept his squad alive. Now, he brings that spirit to a new fight. No guns needed, just the resolve and unity of those long forgotten. Under Malcolm's lead, the encampment transforms. They rebuild tents neater, paint names on tarps, clear trash to make this a community to take pride in. A sign rises, its handwritten words shaky but defiant. We are people, not society's trash. In Malcolm's heart, each hammer strike, each piece of litter cleared, is a declaration they're not invisible. He feels the power of unity, like his squad shoulder to shoulder in combat. He thinks of his nameless friends, of eyes that lit up at his words, and a quiet pride stirs. He promises no victory, but knows, whatever the outcome. They've reclaimed a shred of honor society stole. Malcolm assigns a small team to handle media, using old phones to record every moment, live streaming to show the world they're more than mere shadows. He sits under a streetlight, writing letters by hand to local journalists and veterans groups, each stroke a chisel into time, telling of the park, the real estate plot, and the people fighting to exist. In his heart, each letter is a bullet, not to wound, but to awaken conscience. He thinks of nights huddled under tarps, of police threats, and a fierce resolve surges. He's no longer a wandering homeless man. He's Sergeant Reed, leading a battle for justice, for those society left behind. Then, like wind fanning a flame, a social media post explodes. The video, filmed by a media team member, captures police intimidating a disabled man in the encampment, paired with excerpts from Malcolm's found letter. It strikes like lightning, shared thousands of times, spreading from Portland to distant cities, catching national media's eye. In viewers' hearts, from young activists to silver-haired veterans, outrage blends with respect. They think of Malcolm, of his steadfast gaze, and feel driven to act. Each share a rallying cry, each comment a heartbeat, as if the nation rises to see him not as a vagrant shadow, but as a leader, a soldier without uniform, still fighting. Malcolm, hearing of the post, stands silently by the campfire, flames illuminating his weathered face. He seeks no spotlight, craves no acclaim, but deep within, profound emotion wells up. He thinks of his Iraq comrades, of vows he kept, feeling their presence, smiling from afar. He looks at his encampment friends, their faces now tinged with hope, and knows he's done something greater. He's given them a reason to stand tall, to fight. Though darkness looms, though the mayor and corporation remain formidable foes, Malcolm feels a quiet peace. He's no longer a forgotten shadow. He's Sergeant Reed, leader of an invisible community, a soldier keeping the flame of honor alight, whether under Portland's cold rain or the city's icy urban glow. The decisive day arrives. Police cordon off the park, iron barricades rising like walls between the homeless and the outside world. Construction trucks, emblazoned with corporate logos, line up, their engines roaring like a final threat. A SWAT team, clad in armor and rifles, is deployed, ostensibly for security, but their presence feels like a declaration of war. In Malcolm Reed's heart, his pulse pounds, not from fear, but from fierce resolve. He stands at the entrance, wearing a faded camouflage jacket, threadbare at the shoulders, like the soldier who led a squad in Basra. A small American flag pinned to his wool cap glints in the pale sunlight, a symbol of unwavering loyalty. His eyes hold no fear, though he knows this moment could seal the fate of the encampment, the place he and his nameless friends call home. Malcolm glances at those behind him, dozens of weathered but defiant faces, hands raising handwritten signs. We have a right to live. A surge of emotion wells within him. They're not just the homeless, they're comrades, people who trusted him, who rebuilt tents with him, painted names on tarps, and turned this place into a proud community. He thinks of freezing nights sharing dry bread, of eyes that lit up when he read the real estate letter, the fear of being driven out, treated as society's refuse, once weighed on him, but now it's replaced by a fierce belief they're fighting for what's right. He senses his Iraq comrades, those who fell, watching, smiling because he's kept his vow to never abandon anyone. The flag on his cap reminds him he's not just fighting for the park, but for the honor of forgotten soldiers. A young officer approaches, his gaze stern but betraying tension. He calls Malcolm's name, his voice cutting through the cold air, warning that refusal to leave will bring force. A flash of war memories surges in Malcolm, gunfire, smoke, moments he stood firm against foes. He doesn't step back, not out of stubbornness, but because retreating would betray those relying on him. He stands, eyes resolute, like the squad leader of old, ready to face any storm. His heart beats steadily, not with anger, but with a strange peace, the peace of knowing he's doing right, even if the cost is his freedom. He thinks of those behind him, of the signs they hold high, and feels they're not just a crowd. They're an army, fighting not with weapons, but with resilience and faith in justice. And you, my dear viewers, stay tuned for the next chapter of this awe-inspiring story. So, before you get too cozy, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel, but only if you truly vibe with what I'm doing here, and drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from and what time it is for you. Always love seeing who's joining us from all corners of the globe. Reporters crowd the barricades, cameras flashing in the morning light, broadcasting this story live to millions. The air is heavy, a taut string ready to snap. But then, from the throng, a woman steps forward, her stride bold, yet her eyes brim with tears. She's the daughter of a veteran who fought alongside Malcolm in Basra, a man he saved from death's edge. Raising her phone, her voice trembles but carries power, resonating before the lenses, recounting the soldier who risked his life for her father. She poses a question, not to the crowd but to a nation. Why is a man like Malcolm threatened with arrest, just for defending a shelter for the most vulnerable? In her heart, a deep emotion surges. She thinks of her father, of his stories, of Malcolm's loyalty, and her heart aches seeing him treated as invisible. Her words, like wind fanning a flame, awaken the conscience of those watching. The atmosphere stills, as if time pauses. The young officer falters, his gaze wavering, glancing at his superior, seeking an answer he doesn't have. In his heart, unease creeps in. He thought he was doing his duty, but the woman's words, paired with Malcolm's resolute stare, make him question if he's on the wrong side. Other officers, caught in the moment, hesitate, their rifles suddenly heavy in their hands. In Malcolm's heart, a spark of hope flickers, not because he expects victory, but because he senses a shift, a moment of conscience stirring, like sunlight piercing thick fog. He thinks of his Iraq comrades, of standing together against danger, and feels that, though without a uniform, he's still a soldier, leading an army of unyielding hearts. The crowd hushes, cameras rolling, capturing the moment like a chisel into history. Malcolm stands firm, the small flag on his wool cap fluttering in the breeze, his eyes alight. Not with triumph, but with faith, he's kept his vow. He's given the homeless a voice, transformed the encampment from a dark corner into a guiding flame. In his heart, his nameless friends, those he shared dry bread with, are his reason to stand tall. Though SWAT, construction trucks, or an entire city loom ahead, Malcolm knows he won't retreat. He's awakened a community's conscience, and for him, that's a soldier's greatest victory. That afternoon, the eviction order is suspended. An independent committee forms to investigate the luxury resort plan, peeling back secrets hidden in the letters Malcolm Reed uncovered. In Malcolm's heart, standing at the park's entrance with the small American flag pinned to his wool cap, a strange feeling wells up. Not the joy of victory, nor the thrill of vindication, but a profound peace, as if he's completed a mission he never imagined taking on. He thinks of his Iraq comrades, of standing firm against danger, and his heart beats strongly. He hasn't just saved the encampment, he's defended the honor of the forgotten, those he now sees as new comrades. His eyes, once heavy with sorrow and endurance, now gleam with a spark of hope, like the first star twinkling in the sky. News of the event spreads rapidly, national media taking notice. Malcolm, the homeless black man once Sergeant Reed, is invited onto talk shows. His image, tattered camouflage jacket, steadfast gaze, warm, steady voice, becomes a symbol of righteousness, a soldier who never stopped fighting, though the battlefield is now cold city streets. In Malcolm's heart, these invitations don't stir personal pride. He seeks no spotlight, craves no hero's mantle. But each time he faces a camera, He thinks of his encampment friends, of weary faces that built signs, cleared trash, and raised banners proclaiming, "We have a right to live." He feels his duty, not to shine, but to speak for them, to ensure their voices echo. His heart aches recalling nights under tarps, but he finds deep solace, knowing his story has touched millions, awakening a nation's conscience. A veterans organization, moved by Malcolm's actions, launches a fundraising campaign to build temporary housing for the homeless like him. Small donations pour in from across the country, carrying messages of gratitude. A young lawyer, eyes bright with fervent belief in justice, offers to represent Malcolm for free, ready to fight for his rights and the encampments. In Malcolm's heart, these acts of support are like sun rays through dark clouds, warming a soul once chilled by society's indifference. He recalls days of being chased away, treated as refuse, and a wave of emotion rises. He hadn't expected such kindness, but it reminds him the world still holds those who listen, who extend a hand. He feels his fallen Iraq comrades watching, proud he didn't falter, that he found purpose in a new battle. Those who once averted their eyes now visit the park, pausing to hear Malcolm's stories. They don't just hear of Iraq, of battles or scars, but of his nameless encampment friends, of small dreams crushed by society. In their hearts, from youths to elders, respect blends with regret. They think of Malcolm, how he turned a squalid park corner into a symbol of resilience, and feel urged to change. For Malcolm, these conversations are a gift more precious than any roof. He looks into their eyes, sees sincerity, and his heart lightens. He's no longer a wandering shadow, cast aside. He's Sergeant Reed, who inspired a community, showing that even the forsaken can rise. Malcolm still sleeps under the starry sky. Though he could choose a warm room, he cherishes the night breeze, like lying with comrades under Iraq's heavens. But now, he's not alone. His encampment friends, who shared dry bread, are his family. In his heart, a flame of hope burns, not just for him, but for all society abandoned. He thinks of the letter found in the trash, of signs held high, of the woman who called his name before the crowd. Each moment is a victory, not for defeating the mayor or corporation, but for giving his community a voice. He grips the dog tag at his neck, feeling its warmth, and smiles quietly. His comrades, from past and present, remain with him, like stars above. As the stars shine brighter, Malcolm stands still, eyes on the horizon. He knows the fight isn't over, but he's unafraid. He's awakened a city, inspired hearts once indifferent. In his heart, his story isn't just about saving the park. It's proof that loyalty and resilience can change the world. For Malcolm, that's the greatest legacy, a flame that will burn forever, lighting the way for the homeless, for veterans, for all forgotten under Portland's starry sky. Malcolm Reed's story isn't just a homeless man's journey. It's a profound reminder of courage and compassion rising above circumstance. In his heart, once Sergeant Reed, the valiant soldier of Iraq, a quiet fire burns, undimmed by frigid nights under tarp or society's scornful glances. Standing at the park's entrance, facing police and construction trucks, he didn't just guard a patch of land, he defended the dignity of the forgotten. His gaze, steadfast and unyielding, like a lighthouse guiding unseen lives, awakened a city's conscience. Each step he took was a vow, not for glory, but for the belief that even those cast aside deserve self-respect. Malcolm sought no fame when he led the encampment community, raising signs, penning letters to journalists. Yet his actions, from uncovering a letter exposing a real estate plot, to transforming the park into a symbol of unity, made him a hero in the eyes of millions. In his heart, his nameless friends, sharing dry bread, holding signs proclaiming, "We have a right to live," were comrades, his reason to fight. When the eviction was halted, when national media shared his story, he felt deep solace. Not because he won, but because he helped others like him be seen, be heard. He thought of his Iraq comrades, of vows he kept, and his heart warmed, as if they smiled from afar. Malcolm's story calls American viewers to look deeper, beyond status or circumstance, to see the dignity in every person. He, a homeless veteran, stood against injustice, not with force, but with resilience and faith in justice. In the hearts of those hearing his tale, from youths to fellow veterans, respect blends with emotion. They think of Malcolm, of his eyes under that small American flag, and feel driven to act, to defend the values he embodies. Each share of this story is a heartbeat, each watching gaze a promise that people like Malcolm won't be forsaken. He's become a symbol, not just for the homeless, but for all who believe dignity is everyone's right. Under the starry night sky, Malcolm feels the hopeful flame he lit spreading. He seeks no accolades, only the knowledge that his story has stirred strangers' hearts, bringing light to lives in shadow. For him, that's the greatest victory, the triumph of courage, of enduring dignity. If you believe everyone deserves to be heard, respected, and live with dignity, share this story. Subscribe to Veteran Best Stories so we can keep sharing journeys that move the world to listen.